Well, we are here this evening to talk about the upcoming Midland Center for the Arts musical She Loves Me, with its two leads, Erin Whitfield and Stephen Holty. I consider these two people superstars of local theater, and I've listed all of their credits. We'd be here all evening, okay? So I will try to do a somewhat abbreviated. Erin has credits in oratorio and recitals, is a member of the Saginaw Choral Society and Camerata, lists Carousel in Oklahoma among her musical credits, and from 2015 to 2018 was in the Seattle Opera Chorus, where she sang in a long list of very well-known operas. And currently she works in the ticket office for the Center for the Arts. Stephen is interesting, okay? He's played Gomez in The Addams Family, Rocky in Rocky Horror Show, an assassin in Assassins. You get a theme here? But on the good side, he also was Simon in Joseph and the Mason Colored Dreamcoat, and that's just a few. And he works for Hemlock Semiconductor. So, I think a lot of people might be saying, She Loves? What's that? I've never heard of it. So what drew each of you, you can answer separately, to this musical, which I believe is set in the 1930s, even though it's somewhat obscure?
Yeah.
Erin, go for it.
Okay. Yeah. I was not familiar with the show until the center announced it was on the center stage list a little over a year ago. And I started listening to it. We were all working from home during the pandemic, at least a lot of us. And there's a wonderful live stream version that was done from Broadway in 2016 with Laura Benanti and Zachary Levi.
Yeah.
And so I started listening to it and watched that. It's on Broadway HD. And oh my gosh, I just grew immediately obsessed. The music is just perfect. It's phenomenal. It's a golden age show. It's towards the end of the golden age era, which means that it's somewhat classically based. It's not fully classically sung, of course, but it's very, very rich. And the orchestration tells the stories of the characters just as much as the characters' text does. They're all very developed. They're all fun and lovely humans in their own ways. And you just fall in love with it. And of course, as we were talking before, the screenplay or the script has been adapted into several screenplays. Excuse me. And I don't know. It's perfect in every way. It became my favorite show, and hands down is my favorite show, will be forever. So,
okay. How about you, Stephen?
So this story for me started in 1998 when I watched Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan do it in You've Got Mail. This new thing called email was coming out, and these two people were emailing each other, and then in rival stores, there were bookstores, and it goes on from there. And our show, She Loves Me, uses the same source material. So when I see a roster come out at Midland Center, I look up the show, similar to Erin. I looked it up. I started listening to the music, and then my son and I started just singing a few of George's songs. And I've got videos of this summer of my son and I over at Grandpa's lake, and we were just going around the pontoon, and he was belting out She Loves Me. And that's when I knew that I was going to audition for the show, is when my son really, really loved the show.
So who's the better singer, him or you?
He is, by far.
No. Unfair question. So it dates back to 1937 as a Hungarian play. And so far has been 3 movies, as you mentioned, the Tom Hanks one, You've Got Mail. So it's adapted all over the place. And this musical was written in 1963, and there's been 2 revivals. Is it a story that seems to hang on through the years? And tell us a little, each one of you, what the story is about without ruining it, and what your character is like. Again, Erin.
I think most people can get the gist of it without enjoying it, even with knowing spoilers, maybe like if you know you've got mail, it's a romantic comedy. You can guess at parts of, how it ends, but it's the getting there that's the fun part. Oh gosh.
Yeah, two people that hate each other, but then unknowingly have a correspondence, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you see elements of it throughout, great musicals and operas, all through history, really. That coming together of people. And I think that it gets directly to the core of, we want to understand each other, even if we don't always know that we do. And we always can in the end is sort of how I feel. And in that process, you discover some about yourself and in getting to know that other person. And so I don't know, you fall in love with each person as they also are falling for each other. Yeah.
And where do these two people work? Is it a bookstore?
It's a perfumery, which that's the original play.
Oh, okay. That's the original
perfumery.
Okay.
Right. So Mr. Marichek's Perfumery, which is sort of like a fancy drugstore. I don't know.
Okay.
Soaps, shampoos, bath oils, bath salts, cold creams, face creams.
So what's your character like, Stephen? Sort of.
My character is very wants to fall in love, I believe, is very shy, and desperately wants to do well at work. And through just a chance encounter of Amalia, business is not great in the 30s, and we're not hiring.
Yeah.
And because of environmental influences, we just get at each other immediately, Amalia and George. And so here's easygoing, happy to smile, loving George, kind of insecure around the ladies. And then Amalia comes in like a tornado, and George doesn't know how to deal with her at all. And so there's a lot of friction immediately. And they don't really come to know and really understand each other until later on in the show, which is, I think, the journey getting to that point is really what this show is all about. And hearing, so I'm somebody who's been trying to sing for the last 20 years. Erin is a professionally trained opera singer, a beautiful soprano voice. I love listening to her bell soprano. So throughout the show, we get to hear from the different characters, and hearing her journey and hearing my journey, I think, is what is so special. And then, when the ending comes, it's like, oh, that's the payoff.
Absolutely.
So what's your character like, Erin?
Yes. Amalia.
She kind of toughed it. Is she toughed it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good enough.
I think Tornado is fair. We start out, she needs a job. The 30s are a hard time to have a job. And as a woman in the 30s, I think there's also a little bit of that stigma around it, like a single working woman sort of thing. But she needs to live in her own little apartment. And she's a firecracker. She's sweet and good-hearted, but isn't afraid to stand up for herself. And very smart and bookish, and I think just trying to find her way in the world and find love.
Before we went on air, I was talking to Erin because Stephen was tooling around somewhere. No, just kidding. You said that the score is a beast. Describe. What do you mean?
Yeah, the show is a beast. I mean, there's so much of everything. There's so many props.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So much music. There's so much, so many lines.
Okay.
But it's interesting to get a handle on all of the aspects all together. I mean, I think the tech rehearsals we've had the last few days they've been really, really good to settle into everything. And I think us getting the chance to slow down a little bit as the actors and see it piece by piece and seeing the lighting come together and seeing all of those props. I mean,
Yeah.
finally get on the shelves, and like, you know, my bookcase in my apartment finally has books in it, and
Okay.
you see all the personality coming together, and it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
we're on top of this, and it's gonna happen.
So if either of you, if you had to categorize the music, what is it like?
Oh, it's romantic. It's beautiful.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's a golden age
Okay.
for sure. I
Okay.
believe the musical was written in the 60s
Mhm.
1963. Yeah.
by the same writing duo that wrote Fiddler on the Roof.
Right.
Yeah, they
And
did
boy,
next year.
when I look at the cast list the first few years, this was a who's who.
Mhm.
I mean, really big names were in this. So yeah.
Mhm.
So we have period costuming, obviously, and I guess they're going to be using the rotating stage.
Oh yeah.
What are other good things about this that people really should give it a chance, even though they may not have heard it?
Oh gosh, there's something for everybody. It's funny, it's poignant,
Okay.
it's there's the romance part, but that's not all of it. And there's I mean, Stephen and I are probably on stage a fair bit of time, but like there's a whole cast of other clerks that all have their own
Okay.
storylines, and you
Oh,
really get
oh,
pieces of everybody. It's not just like, oh, the two people and then and everybody else. It's like, no, I mean, Ilona Ritter, the other female clerk, is super spicy and so much fun, and she's got two really great numbers. And Stephen Kodai is the suave, you know, player, but he's also got a heart of gold and like gets a great
Okay.
exit song. You know, like
Yep.
there's yeah, I don't know. There's just so much for everyone to enjoy. You are going to have a great time. I promise.
okay. She promises. Stephen, among the roles I mentioned, and maybe some I didn't, what has been one of your favorites over the years?
My favorites are the ones that my kids still talk about, and
Okay.
my kids are always talking about when I played Gomez Adams. That was really special. The Adams Family. It was a
Yep.
special time of their lives. They went to a lot of rehearsals. They love Kendra Lodwick, who played my daughter Wednesday. They love Drew Hogue, who played Pugsley. They love my wife. They let him name drop all. So yeah, they just loved all these people in the show, and they loved seeing them. They were starstruck, and they still would sing the songs to this day.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to them seeing the whole show of She Loves Me, because I just know they're gonna fall in love with it.
Well, if he's already singing the songs, yeah, right.
Yep.
How about for you, Erin, out of that big long canvas?
Oh gosh. I
What
mean,
do you like?
well, it's corny to say, like, Amalia I feel like this is going to be probably one of the best things I ever do. She fits me in every way in terms
Okay.
of relating to her. I mean, Oklahoma was a long time ago. I was 16 in high school, but that was,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, for me and my voice and what really fits me, like that part, just getting to do the sort of classical thing, but in a musical theater style.
Yeah.
That's a favorite
Yeah.
memory that I'll always have. And my guy who played Curly, my scene romantic lead in that show, like very reminiscent of Steven in a lot of ways. Like he's such a generous friend on stage and off stage, and this whole process has been so supportive and kind and positive and just everything. And so like it's a fond memory like that.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah.
Same.
Anything else either of you can think of about the show?
I just want to take my hat off to our whole creative team and our director for putting them in all the time and putting up with all of us.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The process has been extremely interesting in a still pandemic, still COVID time. And,
Yeah.
a lot of safety, procedures and a couple of moments of readapting, and it's been a shorter rehearsal process too than one might normally have for various reasons, and so it's
okay.
everyone's really stuck to it and stayed on board with the vision. And
I have to drop a quick anecdote. I was just telling Erin the other day that that I think it was yesterday we first took our masks off and did
Oh,
our
yeah.
scenes without our masks.
Wow.
And we weren't planning on taking our masks off on stage until later on this week. But the sound folks, the sound engineers needed to get those masks off so they could get our balancing
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
we took our masks off and we played one of the scenes near the end of Act 1. And it was like it was like writing a book about how acting is reacting, because it was like a case study, because when we were doing this scene by not seeing half of our 3/4 of our face for 2 months, when we took our masks off, it was amazing to be able to react to each other's smiles and our frowns,
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
really see what was behind the mask. There's so much going on here that you don't see.
And that's what an actors really use their faces. So yeah.
Yes, yes, and a good expressive face like Erin has, it's like so easy to act off of or react, because she's got really great instincts and really great facial expressions.
Well, right back at you.
Okay, I'll remind people it's called She Loves Me. It's the Midland Center for the Arts, December 3-5 and 9-12. So get your tickets and enjoy these two, okay? And she'll sell you the tickets. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your time this evening. Okay.
Thank you, Janet.
Okay.